General John Kelly has been moving fast in his new role as Chief of Staff for the White House to impose military-style discipline on the Trump White House. Leon Panetta has been the Secretary of Defense, the CIA Director, and also the Chief of Staff under President Bill Clinton. I spoke with him about the job Kelly has ahead of him and many other issues vital to the country.
I like John Kelly a lot. He was my military aide for 2 years when I was Secretary at the Defense Department. And the best thing to know about John Kelly is he is first and foremost a Marine. He's dedicated his life to public service, committed to whoever is Commander-in-Chief, and he's somebody who believes deeply in discipline, in a strong chain of command, in an orderly process for decision-making, and doesn't tolerate chaos very easily. So I think he's the right guy to be able to try to get the White House back in order. I think the real question is going to be whether or not the president gives him the room to make the changes that are going to be necessary in order to improve the operations of the White House.
What would you advise him to do at this point? Because that was really what I was about to say. This is a different president. This is a different approach. President Trump goes directly to the American people with his tweeting. He is sometimes saying things that perhaps, are not scripted. He's sort of, not as the discipline that you would think of when you think of a general like John Kelly.
Well, I think John has to first and foremost focus on the staff operation in the White House. He has got to be the Chief of Staff, which means that you can't have a bunch of people who are also chiefs of staff running around the White House and having access to the Oval Office. And my sense is he's beginning to impose that kind of discipline. He's also got to establish a strong chain of command where people are responsible to others, are supervised, and have clear responsibilities. And then he's got to create an orderly process for decision-making in the White House. Now, I know the president is going to continue to tweet. That's something he's been doing. He'll continue to do that. But in the very least, if he's going to tweet policy, it ought to be the result of a decision-making process in which people have been able to present their views and information to the president before he does that. So I hope that John Kelly will at least be able to impose that kind of discipline with regards to the president.
Yeah, in fact, one of the things that he said this past week, was, look, any information that gets in front of the president needs to come in front of me first. We don't just want willy-nilly the president looking at all different information, because some of the information may be bad. And we need the president to be making good decisions based on good and strong and accurate information.
That's John Kelly to a T,
yeah.
And it is important because the president has to deal with a number of crises, a number of problems. He has a national security process that involves both deputies' meetings and principal meetings in order to move forward on recommendations to the president. He ought to follow that. He ought to do the same thing when it comes to economic policy and to domestic policy, is to create an orderly process where information is provided, options are viewed, and then they are then presented to the president. When I was Chief of Staff to Bill Clinton, before any briefing went to the president, it had to come to me in the Chief of Staff's office at the White House. I think that's the right way to do business.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Meanwhile, the crisis that the administration is dealing with now are these leaks. Attorney General Jeff Sessions on Friday came out, gave a press conference, called these leaks incredibly damaging. They are ramping up the attention on leaks, and they are going to prosecute the leakers. What do you think about all of this, Secretary? How do you stop the leaking?
Well, interestingly enough, Maria, I think a lot of that will relate to John Kelly's ability to be a strong Chief of Staff and to be able to make the staff there feel like they're part of a team. Look, I don't think these leaks are helpful in any way. I think they're dangerous, particularly when it involves classified information. And you can refer to the FBI, and you can refer to the Justice Department, and obviously where it involves classified information, it ought to be investigated. But the key to preventing leaks is to create a sense of teamwork within the White House, within the staff, so that they feel loyalty to the President of the United States. They've got to feel loyalty. They've got to feel like they're part of a team. These leaks happen because people are disgruntled. They don't feel like their voice is being heard. They're related to a particular faction in the White House that is opposed to another faction. So they're basically trying to undermine one of another. They're shooting at one another there in the White House. So the best way to control leaks is to make them part of a team, make them loyal, not only to the Chief of Staff, but in particular to the President of the United States.